Any leader will tell you this. The hardest thing to bring to another human being is their own self-awareness. We just can't see our own blind spots, right? It's what makes them blind spots. But through the scriptures and through Mary, through Elizabeth, there's this encouragement. As we grow in humility, we say, God, reveal to me those things that need shaped in me, that are still growing in me. Let's start here. Mary's song, the Father is holy, the Father is good. Mary is a conduit. She's received a word from the angel Gabriel, and then she lives the story. It's always my deepest hope that we are people living the good news story. Nobody cares what lives alone just in our brains. They want to see it lived out in our lives. And so Mary steps into the invitation that Gabriel had spoken over her life. Scholars say she was 12 to 15 years of age. Elizabeth, her older cousin, living maybe 80 miles away, past childbearing age, it was believed. Her husband, Zechariah the priest, who has gotten a word in the temple in Jerusalem. So Elizabeth is home alone, and Mary travels to Elizabeth's home. We have a map of this journey from Nazareth to Ein Karim in the hill country of Judea. It's really interesting. Mary doesn't travel to her home synagogue in Nazareth or to her parents or to Joseph. She wants to go see her cousin. She wants to, because remember, Angel Gabriel has spoken what Elizabeth would hear as well. She wants to be with somebody who also know God's miracle working power. Like when God's doing something in our lives, we want to be with other people that want to see God move as well. And so Mary makes this journey to Ein Karim in the hill country of Judea. About 50 miles from Nazareth as the crow flies, but about 80 miles if you were to travel even today could take a couple hours in modern day Israel. Scholars say it would have taken Mary about 4 or 5 days. Like, think about it, 12 to 15 years old, newly pregnant, walking this journey for 4 or 5 days. It's a dangerous road, but it's a heroine's journey. It's when we set out in faith for the thing that God has put into our lives to grow, it will take incredible bravery. And so she arrives in the hill country of Ein Karim. In modern day Ein Karim in Israel, there's this statue of the two mothers, Mary and Elizabeth, embracing. It's a sacred spot in the Christian story. For this place of intimacy and connection, these two mothers separated, yes, same family, but many years apart, but they have the same heart for God's surprising miracle-working power. And then in that space of Elizabeth's home, Mary declares this song, the Magnificat. Some of you have heard it said. Magnificat is from the Latin translation, my soul magnifies, Magnificat, the Lord. And so this is through the last 2,000 years, we call this the Magnificat. Listen to Mary's words from 46 through 50. If you have your Bible, you can open to Luke 1. Mary said, my soul glorifies the Lord. My spirit rejoices. He's been mindful of the state of his servant. I just pause here. The significance of what Mary is declaring. She's glorifying God. She's rejoicing. And she's recognizing that she's been blessed because of the miracle-working power of God, that God does things in our lives that we can never explain. But the heart of the matter is, holy is his name. It's all about worship. Worship becomes the front door then for more of God's blessing in our life. How many of us, if God were to answer even the prayers of the last 7 days, would it be better parking spots at the mall, maybe more money in our bank account, maybe like a little healing in a relationship? Like our prayer life can become so small. But what Mary says in the declaration of what the angel has said over her life, God, may your holiness be magnified. May it increase. And then what unfolds in Mary's song is actually like a protest. It's a protest to the world's power structures. This worship song, I didn't know this till this week as I was studying. And actually, Pastor Silas shared this with me. It's incredible. But this Magnificat of Mary, it was banned in colonial India up to 1950, too revolutionary. It was banned in 1970s era Argentina. There was a dictator, and the people would rise up and chant Mary's song. Too dangerous. 1980s Guatemala, same thing. This worship song by Mary called the Magnificat was feared for its upsetting message that God's power is different than human power structures. So when we have issue with human power structures, we take a page out of Mary's playbook. We declare, holy is the Lord, even when I can't understand how he's working. So Mary, she preaches this message then of the historical significance of what God will do in her own body and the upside down nature of the ways of the Father. That her son, Jesus the Messiah, would disrupt the power structures on earthly authorities. This is who the Father is, she says. This is what the Father does. Look with me at verses 50 through 55. His mercy extends to those who fear him from generation to generation. He performs mighty deeds. He scattered the proud. He brought down rulers. He's filled the hungry. He's helped his servant Israel. He's faithful forever. And you just unpack that and you stay with that. Like, it's pretty remarkable. His mercy extends to those who fear him, who worship him. So worship is a gateway for more of God's ways being brought into our life. And our God is a God who works in grace. May we worship him. He's performed mighty things, but he scatters the proud. So there's this invitation pastorally that our obedience puts the Father in the control of our lives, on the throne of our lives. As we worship him, we say, God, I open up my hand because I'm not in control. He's filled the hungry with good, but he sends wealthy away. For us, may we know our need. May we bring our need to the good Father. That's how Jesus taught us to pray as well in Matthew. Father, you know my need. Will you fill me this day with daily bread? He's helped those who follow him. Remember, the Lord provides. The good Father. And if you're like me, God's provision and my requests, there's often a big gap. So there's a constant invitation. God, can I see your provision even in what I have today? Would it be enough? And then finally, she's like, he keeps his covenant. This is a covenant-keeping God. God is a God who keeps promises. Be wary of a church or faith that can't declare with certainty that God still keeps promises. Even when the floodwaters rise, even when we remember 15 years ago our great loss, even when we go through so many things where it's like, man, I don't get what you're doing, God, but I believe that God keeps promises. Because if we give up hope that God is a promise-keeping God, we give up hope in a God who has power to move in our world. And sometimes faith then becomes so benign, so powerless, and so like resolved to just the unfolding. But God is calling us through Mary to believe, I keep my promises. Mary then models this really brave type of availability and what it means to be used for God. This Bible, these scriptures are full of story after story after story. God uses the available, he uses the humble, he uses the hungry, he uses those that want to see him move. Like, just flip to a page in the Bible, you're going to see a story of God moving in people that are available and humble and ready. We just preached a whole series about Ruth, wrong side of the Jordan River, an unlikely source, folded back in through a holy kind of love into Jesus' story. Or you can turn to Gideon. He was from the wrong tribe. Or David, number 8 in the line of sons in a culture that lifted up kind of the firstborn. There's Moses. He's too broken. Elijah, he's too depressed. Mary, too complicated in her past. Like, over and over, there is a reminder. God uses the humble. He uses the available. He uses the brokenhearted. He uses you when you're ready, me as well. So may we stay open-handed to the ways of God in our life. May we stay humble and say the Father is good and the Father is holy. Even when I don't understand what you're doing, God, use me. Make me more humble. The hardest thing, any leader will tell you this, the hardest thing to bring to another human being is their own self-awareness. We just can't see our own blind spots, right? It's what makes them blind spots. But through the scriptures and through Mary, through Elizabeth, there's this encouragement. As we grow in humility, we say, God, reveal to me those things that need shaped in me, that are still growing in me. Years ago when Bethany North, our congregation up in Shoreline, that we're almost through with the building project, through your faithful generosity of Hope Rising, they'll start worshiping in January 25th in a new building that Bethany and Bethany Green Lake has helped support. It's amazing testimony. But 15 years ago, it was 50 people, it was a trailer, it was a community center in Richmond Highlands. It had no markers of earthly success other than people that wanted God to move in their community. So I'd been appointed by Bethany. I had all of, a semester of seminary under my belt. And I was like, well, I'll do it if nobody else will do it. And so we gathered and we had our first Sunday 15 years ago, fall 2010. The Thursday before, we had a launch service where we would, bring in the trailer and all the volunteers would show up to get ready. Pastor Eric was there because he was volunteering that Sunday to lead us in worship. And, I was the leader. So it's like, yeah, put this here and the pizza goes there and where should this go? And, like everyone's doing everything and it's like, oh yeah, I look like somebody that knows what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I'm starting a church in Charlotte. I had no idea what I was doing. And I walk outside, everyone's like, oh, you're all good. I walk out, I'm like, I think it might have actually been a low-grade panic attack. I couldn't catch a full breath. I step out under the stars. I'm like, God, I'm pretty sure you have the wrong guy. I don't have the experience. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the high holiness. I'm not sure I have anything other than my desire to see this little church form. I actually dropped to my knees. And I remember looking up and praying and like tears forming in my eyes because nothing breaks you more than your own lack of worthiness, right? And it was from that position of abandonment and humility that God says, now you're exactly the right person to lead this community. So open up your life and be humble and ask God to reveal those blind spots in you to continue the growth journey. And friends, as your senior pastor, please hear me. This is easier to teach than to live. And so every single day I'm saying, God, make me more humble. Teach me about my brokenness. Allow my life to actually be love. He uses the available. He uses the hungry. May we grow humility. Second.